It's a family reunion. I love
It's a
it.
family reunion. Um, well, Clara, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us in this very special month for all of us. For everyone that don't know this, Clara is our dear cousin, um, who, through her experience dealing with breast cancer, she founded a social media movement called Te Toca Tocarte, which is a monthly movement now where she encourages women of all ages to go for a monthly self breast exam and make sure that they are understanding the implications of detecting breast cancer early on by having routine checks and mammograms. For everyone that don't know Clara, she's a superstar and the face behind some of the biggest Latin superstars out there. She's the senior vice president for global marketing of WalterCom Entertainment, where she has under her purview two amazing artists, boy band CNCO, and obviously Maluma, who a lot of you are huge fans of. And prior to being part of WalterCom, Clara worked in a number of roles within the music industry. Before that, she was at Univision, and also prior to that, she worked with some of the biggest record labels out there, working with artists such as Ricky Martin, Luis Fonsi, Shakira, J Balvin, Daddy Yankee, to name a few of the artists that she had the privilege of working with. The purpose of the call today is for Clara to share a little bit about her experience dealing with breast cancer and how she found out about her diagnosis at a very young age, and what are some of the things that she dealt with, and for us to also share from a family standpoint how, through keeping it positive throughout her journey, we were able to all surpass this together. So Clara, the floor is yours. We'll let you talk a little bit about your experience and your history, and then after that we can maybe open it up for some questions.
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so proud of everything you guys are doing at Higher Horatio. I remember when Jose told me all about it, and to see where it's becoming and how quickly it's growing. It's because of all of you. So thank you for supporting the dream and for making it such an amazing company. You made me sound like a rock star. Damn, that was a good intro, Primo. But like, yeah, like Jose said, I am I can officially say that I'm a breast cancer survivor. I finished my treatment only 2 weeks ago, which is very exciting. So, I can give you a little bit about my story and how I felt the lump and how everything really started. 5 years ago, I was 36 years old. I was at home watching TV, and I went to scratch myself right here, and I felt a lump. My boyfriend was with me, and I asked him, I was like, do you feel that? And he also felt it too. What's crazy about the lump is that it wasn't in the actual breast. It was right here, to be honest. It was more on the chest area. So I immediately texted my gynecologist, which is the first doctor you should text. You should text your gynecologist because that's the person that needs to give you a prescription whenever if you do find something. Because of my age, I can't just walk into a center and ask for a mammogram. I had to get a prescription from my gynecologist, so that's actually very important. The medical terms, they say that you should wait till you're 45 or minimum 40. But if you have a history like I did, on my mother's side, a lot of women have been diagnosed with breast cancer. I should have been tested at 35, starting minimum 30, between 30 and 35 years old. I should have started to be tested based on your family history. So I texted my gynecologist, and he said, come in the next morning. I was there at 8 a.m. and he felt it too. So he sent me to do a mammogram and an ultrasound. I immediately went. I didn't wait, not even an hour. I immediately went. I did the mammogram and the ultrasound. The mammogram, they did it and they didn't say anything to me. But when they did the ultrasound, I was in the room, and the nurse, when she was doing the ultrasound, her face completely changed. So I knew something was wrong, right? That was my first inkling as, okay, there's something wrong here. She leaves and comes back with the doctor. That's when I knew for sure something was not okay. When she left and came back, the doctor told me that they did find a lump and that they wanted to do more testing. They needed to do a biopsy. if I was okay with it. And I said, of course, do it. Please do it immediately. And wherever she was about to leave, I asked her, I said, hey, are you, do you think it's, like, is it a cyst? And she said, no, it's not a cyst. It's a tumor. And in my experience, I believe it's cancer. I mean, I did not wake up that morning thinking I was going to be hearing that I had cancer, right? It was as if somebody punched me in the stomach. It was horrible. I called my mom immediately. And, us Latinos, we don't like to worry our parents unless we have to. So I didn't tell my parents I was going through this. So I called my mom hysterical, not as calm as I am right now. I called my mom hysterical and I said, Mom, I'm here. They think I have cancer. I need you to come over here and hold my hand because I can't do this biopsy by myself. And obviously, my parents freaked out. My dad, which my cousins know, my dad drives extremely slow. He got there in 20 minutes, which is pretty good. And throughout the whole time, my mom was sat with me and she held my hand. And seeing the faces of the nurse and the doctor doing it on me, I knew that the results were not going to be a good one. So I just looked at my mom and I said, hey, Mom, I think that this is going to be bad. And she looked at me with this like calmness to herself. And she said, it's okay. It's okay. We got this. Like, we're going to get this. And whatever it is, whatever comes back, we're okay. We're going to be okay. 24 hours later, I got the call that it was in fact cancer. And I can't even say it. Every time I say it, it really gets me emotional because it's still very raw. It was the worst news I could have ever heard in my life. When I first heard it, I just kept repeating to myself, I'm so young. I have so many things I want to do. I'm working so hard and I have such a big career ahead of me. I'm not ready to die. This is not the way I'm going to go. And the hardest thing, I think, at that moment to me was calling my family and telling them the news. For some reason, I felt guilty. I shouldn't have, but I did. And it just felt like I was causing this pain to them that I didn't want to bring upon them. So, I mean, obviously, I called my family. I told them everything that happened and what was going on. And everybody came over. My friends came over. And, I gave myself 5 hours to cry, and I did. I hid myself in the bathroom. I cried by myself. I cried with my family. And then that was a Friday morning. And that Monday, I decided I'm going to take control of this. I'm not going to let it beat me. And I went to my first appointment. From that day on, for 9 months straight, I did surgeries. I did radiation where my breast was completely burnt to a crisp. It was horrible. I was exhausted. Side effects were really bad. But for 9 months, I fought and I did what the doctors asked me to do, and I did everything that I needed to do to be able to beat this thing. And finally, 9 months later, I rang my first bell, which meant that I finished my active treatment. And while I was, and it was such a beautiful moment because the whole time, all I kept thinking about, I just want to be done with this. I want to continue moving on with my life and moving forward. And, throughout this whole time that I was going through treatment, I felt like I didn't find anybody that I could identify with, nobody that was my age that was going through it. Because an older woman going through breast cancer is not the same as somebody my age, somebody that didn't have kids still, that still was trying to figure out her life. There's different things that worry us versus what worries an older woman. So that's where I decided to use my social media account and make it public. I don't know if it was the fact that my surgery was on September 28th and October was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, is for October 1st. So I felt like it was a sign from God telling me you need to make your story public. And like Jose said, I work with a lot of artists, and I had a decent amount of following back then. And all the artists, when I posted, all the artists that know me reached out and said, how can I help? And I just asked them, hey, share the message. Help me share the message. And my post went viral in 24 hours. And that's where Te Toca Tocarte was born. Te Toca Tocarte is a movement, social movement that I created to push, to remind women the first of the month, every month, to remind women that they need to check themselves. You ladies, you need to check yourself every single month. It's not just in October. And it's the reason why you need to check yourself is because you know your breast better than anybody else. So if you know something's different between the last month and the previous month, then you can take the actions necessary. The reason why I'm standing here right now, 100% is because I found it on time. I didn't wait. Thank God I felt the lump, but I wasn't checking. I'm gonna be honest. I should have had the mammogram before and I didn't do it. I should have been checking myself. I was once in a while, but I didn't do it as consistently as I should have been. And that's 100% the reason why I am sitting here in front of you guys and I'm talking to you right now. I've lost a lot of friends along the way, unfortunately, because they found their cancer later on in life, or there was metastasized, and unfortunately this sickness has taken a lot of my good friends, but it's also saved a lot of the ones that have been able to find it on time. That's why every month I'm so adamant about this movement, and it's been a beautiful thing because a lot of women have been able to find their cancer on time and have been able to find it and done the surgery, and they move on with their life. One of the things that my oncologist told me when I first got diagnosed, she goes, when you find breast cancer on time, it's like a really, really bad cold. We just have to take care of it. We give you the medicines, we do what you need to do, and you move on with your life. So that's why this movement is so important to me. And fast forwarding to 5 years after treatment, after I was diagnosed, for the last 5 years, I've been in treatment every 28 days, no matter where I am in the world. Like Costa said, I'm always traveling, because I work with so many artists. And no matter where I am, I've had to come back to Miami to do my treatment. And, like I said, I'm very happy that I finally finished it 2 weeks ago. And, I'm finally able to start kind of building my life and being a little bit more normal, because it's been my life for the last 5 years. I'm starting to see kind of like where life is going to be more like now. I still have to be on a medicine every night for the next 5 years. But that's nothing compared to everything else that I've been through. I think that's like my long story short. I don't know if I would like to, like I was talking to Jose earlier. I mean, I feel like one of the things that I always say is that when you get cancer, everybody around you gets cancer. I'm sure all of you or anybody on this call has been touched somehow through cancer. And, and seeing like the family side of it, and how the support that I felt from my family was amazing, including the 2 cousins that I have on this call. So maybe, Jose, you want to give your point of view on how a family member sees it, and then you guys can open up and to ask me any questions you want.
Yeah, I think that for us and for anyone that is a family member of someone that has been diagnosed with cancer, it's a very difficult moment in time. But I think that what was difficult for us as your cousins was watching your journey. And we know that sometimes when you went for treatment, the consequences of that treatment really took a toll on you, and seeing that was very difficult. But we just couldn't, we just had to be stronger at that moment. We couldn't be like, oh, I'm sorry to see you going through that. I think we have to be there. We have to be the strong ones. We have to check in on you. We have to cheer you on. We always have to keep a positive attitude. We have to always find a way to make you laugh. Because obviously going through what you were going through was hard enough already. And without the community and the support of people that surround you, and obviously your immediate family is even stronger. And the bond that you have with your parents and your sisters is very strong. That made all the difference to me. And seeing that was obviously something that we had to fight on your behalf, and be stronger than you, and be more positive, even though we were also dealing with a lot of internal pain seeing you go through that. So some of the things that we saw that you went through also led to us seeing how you changed as well. Obviously, I think after me, your lifestyle is even more intense. And I don't know how you have the energy to do everything that you do. But I think it would be helpful for you to share a little bit of how you changed that lifestyle when you discovered what you had breast cancer, and like when you started treatment, like what were some of those lifestyle adjustments that you had to make this work, and how that changed your perspective of what you were dealing with in terms of your lifestyle?
I mean, my lifestyle changed completely. I mean, the first 9 months, which is, when I was like actively getting treatment every single day, I went from traveling all the time to not traveling. It grounded me. I think it brought me, I needed to stop, I think. we my life is like Jose said, is extremely crazy. I mean, I'm always on tour, I'm always traveling, and it kind of made me pause a little bit and get closer to my family. I think that it was a moment, the month, and you saw it, you went to see me. The month that I was at my parents' house living there after my surgery, I couldn't even feed myself. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't wash my own hair. I couldn't shower myself, and having my whole family, especially my newlywed sister and her new husband moving into my parents' house for a month to take care of me was just so beautiful to see them, and to have their support was amazing, and I 100% could not have done it without them. Um, and lifestyle myself changes. I feel like, a lot of the things that the doctors took away from me was the first thing they took away from me was sugar. Cancer feeds off sugar. So the first thing that was taken away was sugar. That was the first thing that I could not eat. Red meat was another one that they took away. And obviously a lot of organic things. And, obviously I was in medication, but I also did a lot of holistic stuff, which helped me with the side effects. And, like right now I was sweating. That's because I'm still having my side effects from my treatment, because I just finished treatment 2 weeks ago. I'm hoping in like a month or two, I should be okay. I should be done with them. But, I started balancing the organic and the holistic side of medicine to help with the actual with the medicine that the doctors were giving me, because I tried to not take as many pills as possible. And that actually really helps. I saw a lot of people being cured through, through what they eat. It's so important that you change your diet, and, no lactose, is another thing that they took away from me as well. And, I've kept a lot of them. Obviously, I still eat my red meat once in a while. I still have my sugar once in a while, but it kind of did stick with me, because the cancer could come back. It's a fear that I have every single day of my life. If I have a headache, I automatically think I have a brain tumor. If I have a nasty cough, I've had COVID 3 times. Yes, 3 times. And my immune system's pretty bad because of all the medication. But, you know, they found lumps, and, they found nodules in my lungs. My first immediate thought was, oh, great, my cancer spread to my lungs. But, thank God it's not. They're monitoring it. And it's just what happened because my lungs were crap because of COVID. So, there are a lot of things that I continually, I'm still dealing with. But, the lifestyle change, like you said, Jose, like I am a lot more present. I'm a lot more grounded. I feel like I found my purpose. One of the things that I always say is this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but it has been the biggest blessing as well, because I've been able to find my voice in a sense. I know that I'm meant to do this. I know that this happened to me for this specific reason, so I can be talking to people like you, to all of you on a daily basis, and doing interviews, and spreading the word, because unfortunately, ladies, it is the number one cause of death in Latinas under 40. Let me repeat that again. It is the number one cause of death in Latinas under 40, and it's because we don't talk about it enough. My Dominican grandmother told me when I first got diagnosed, do not tell anybody. And that is the opposite of what I did. And that is because our culture pushes us to just keep it quiet and not air our business. And that's why it is affecting our community so much. And that's why I will continue to speak about it. I will not stop talking about it. And, obviously in October, I talk about it more because everybody listens in October. But every month, I'm talking about this, and that's why the campaign is so important to me. And that's why this conversation with you guys is so important to me.
Thank you. I think another question that I had for you is, obviously, we both come from very religious families, and I think the two of us are far from it. But through your journey, you also found yourself, believing more in God and having a lot of practice in faith in your own way and your own spirit.
Yeah.
Like how are you able to leverage your faith to get through this difficult time, and what were some of those support systems that you found throughout your journey, and how did you overcome all of this?
Yeah, I mean, none of you guys know this, but my parents are preachers. My sister is a religion teacher. I mean, they're very, very, very Catholic. So, obviously faith has always been a part of my life, and it's grown, throughout this journey, I was able to find my own faith, and it really has been as important as my family. I mean, my faith, when I'm alone, when I've been alone in the doctor's office waiting for answers, or when I had my surgery, or when I was suffering, or when I was crying, or every time I felt bad because of the side effects that I was having, I was on myself. I was feeling them on myself, you know? So me just asking God to help me and to just give me a little bit of like relief is just, it really, really just, he saved me 100%. And it's been something that brought me back to him. And it's still very extremely important to me. I mean, I'm not Catholic. I mean, I'm Catholic, but I started going to Christian church, which to me is where I found my church and my community. And it's been as important as my medication. I mean, it's honestly been the most important thing. Sorry, you're making me cry, Primo.
I'm sorry. I know that you're very busy, so we have a couple minutes left. Does anyone have any questions? Like, if you can write them in the in-call messages while I ask one last question from my end. I think the one thing, and you've already expressed this, Clara, but I think, what advice would you give everyone here in the group in terms of making sure that they're doing whatever it takes to find out and to self-diagnose and self-check more often? And what are some of the, as you mentioned, like some of the things that they should be looking out for when dealing with these situations?
I think number one, find out your family history. If you guys have a family history of breast cancer in your family, you should definitely start getting checked. Minimum in your 30s, minimum early 30s. Unfortunately, women are getting cancer even in their 20s, which is really sad. So I think that number one, find out your family history. Number two, check yourself every month. You can do it in the shower, and I'm going to teach you really quick how you can check yourself. You start at the collar, and you start pressing down towards your nipple, and then you go from down and you start kind of bring it up, and then you just check from here to here, this area, like from here to here is what you have to check. Always check up here. Not many people think you have to check here, but this is where my tumor was. So that's why the checking from the collar to the nipple is extremely important. There's YouTube videos that teach you exactly how to do it, even better than me. But that's something that's extremely important. If you do find a lump, call your gynecologist, because he or she can give you a prescription. If they're not giving you a prescription, lie. Say you're in pain. Say that, I know it's crazy, but even my doctor tells me to lie. Lie, say you're in pain, say that you have, that you really need to do this, and just tell them all these things that are going on with you so you can actually get tested. Because again, nobody's going to fight for your health and for you better than yourself. So you have to be your biggest advocate when it comes to anything that has to do with your health. So I feel like those are the biggest, like the three, like takeaways for all of this. And like my biggest like tagline, te toca tocarte para que no te toque. Like, you guys do not want to be sitting where I am. What I've been through has been really shitty, like really, really bad. And, obviously I try to be as positive as possible because I'm a very positive person, but Jose and Eli, they saw it throughout, firsthand. What I've been through has not been easy. It's been a part of my life the last 5 years. And it's been extremely painful, and I don't wish this on anybody. So please, 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 te toca tocarte para que no te toque. Any questions? I have time. I can do some questions if you guys want.
Don't be shy, guys and ladies.
Also, men, you need to check yourself, because breast cancer is not just for women. Keep that in mind.
Exacto.
Amado, I see you going like this. Yes. You need to check yourself too, because unfortunately, there are men that are getting breast cancer more and more. So it's not just for women, it's also for men.
Dios mío, no me asuste, muchacho.
Amado, loco, empieza a tocarte, porque sí, para que no te toque.
Clara, Amado es un personaje aquí.
No, ya veo, ya lo amé.
Ya tú sabes.
We have one question. What kept you motivated through this hard time?
What kept me motivated throughout this hard time, I think the responsibility that I had to the community. The minute I decided to go public with my journey, I went very public. I had random people praying for me that I've never even met. And, I felt a sense of responsibility to be positive, and people were rooting for me when I didn't have the energy to keep going. so many people that I, like I said, on social media, my family, my friends, that were rooting for me and that were pushing me, that had, and that kind of like had them faith for me, that really did help. And that's why I'm so happy that I was able to open up about it and share my journey on social media as well. Vi otra pregunta ahí de un lump. ¿Qué decían?
Was the lump you had painful?
No, it was not painful. FYI, usually, I'm not saying always, usually most lumps are not, that are cancerous, are not painful.
I also had a question. Do you feel like anything weird, like any dizziness or headaches or any type of like unwellness, like before noticing the lump, or it was just once you noticed that?
I had no idea. I was planning a trip to Europe the week after, and then I found this lump literally a week before. I felt nothing, zero. The dizziness and all that stuff, I feel it now because I'm all the medication I've been on, but I felt nothing. I felt great.
You know that Clara literally sleeps I mean, she's always on a plane every single week. So
Yeah.
this cancer basically changed her entire life, but she was able to handle it and she's back on track. I mean, she's been back on track for a while already, but she used to travel every single day. If you follow her on Instagram, she's very famous. You can follow her. You're gonna see all her trips on a daily basis. Like she can be in Vegas one day, then in Colombia in the night, and so on, so on. So imagine the whole change for her.
Yeah. Any more questions? Don't be shy. But I think we're good then.
I think we're good. I think we've left everyone speechless. So Clara, again, thank you so much for taking the time and for sharing your story. We really appreciate it, and I hope that everyone found this chat very useful and helpful. And you all know that you have to check yourselves every month and make sure that you're on top of your health and wellness. So Thank you again, Clara.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm reading
you.
all the comments of people thanking. Thank you,
Clara. Thank you.
We were also crying as well.
Aw. I try not to cry, but you know.
Guys, if you have any questions, you can also message her on Instagram. If you have any private questions or private inquiries, she has her Instagram open. Clara Pablo.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Clara.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.